So in today's video, one of my most requested top videos to do, which I've never done it in this channel. We're gonna talk about my favorite oud fragrances of all time. Arguably, some of these are the best compositions when it comes to oud-based scents. Guys, get ready for your next fragrance obsession. Today, the top 20 favorite ouds that I own to date. Stick around, the video's coming up right now. Welcome back everyone to another fragrance video. Today, the best 20 oud fragrances that I own to date. I have about 60 really good oud fragrances in my collection that are predominantly, with the note of oud up front and center. But I wanted to do this in a certain way that you guys really get a good information about oud fragrances. So I'm gonna give you guys a little background on oud just so you guys can understand if you're a noob, if you're getting into oud yourself. I think it's going to be quite interesting to find out more about oud fragrances in that regard. I broke this video into 4 categories to make it easier for you guys to understand, especially if you're a noob or you're getting started into the oud world of fragrances. The first category, entry level, designer, affordable, to get your feet wet sort of thing. Second category, I'm going to go all out and give you guys beast, monster oud fragrances that are going to be daring, pungent, in your face, beastly type of scents that are going to be, kind of hard to wear, but if you do love oud, you're going to love these. And then the third category is going to be high-end, mid-tier. You've already experienced oud, so now you're not afraid to spending a little bit more money to smell amazing. And of course, the last category, the refined, top, masterfully blends that I absolutely love and can't do without when it comes to oud, guys. So let's hop right into it. What is oud? First of all, guys, so oud is a agarwood tree that is infected by insects, in which that particular wood then gets a bacteria that forms this fungus-like infection in which produces the scent that we all know and come to love if you do enjoy oud. However, there's many different types of ouds. There's Laotian oud, Indonesian oud, Indian oud, and all ouds have different facets and aromas. And some of them are very expensive, reaching upwards of $30,000 to $50,000 per kilogram. It is one of the most expensive compounds in perfumery. With that out of the way, I have one quick honorable mention that I know a lot of you do love this fragrance. It is one of the most mentioned fragrances in the world when it comes to oud-based scents that people do enjoy, which is Tom Ford's Oud Wood. This is the original Oud Wood from 2007. This particular one is to oud as vetiver is grey vetiver with Tom Ford, meaning it's very mass appealing, it's easy to wear, and it's going to garner compliments. Hence the fact that I'm not going to put it in any of these categories. However, it is a very good oud and one that you should definitely try if you want to. It does smell amazing. All right, let's start things off with these entry-level oud fragrances that I think are definitely worth checking out. If you're on a budget, you want to get your feet wet, these are going to do the job good for you to give you the initial experience with oud fragrances, also being mass appealing and very easy to wear, if you will. Starting off with Supreme Oud from the house of Ralph Lauren. Polo Supreme Oud is a very good one. In fact, I did a video for you guys talking about the whole Supreme collection. If you haven't checked that video, I'll go check it out. I'll go in depth on this particular fragrance. It's very aromatic, very pleasant. What I love about this one is that rose oud combination is not very predominant here. That rose here is not even present. There's not even rose on this one, which I do enjoy. It's mostly a woody spicy with oud fragrance. So you have cinnamon, you have other cardamom, other great spices in here, which makes this a very, very nice scent. Very elegant, very sophisticated. Definitely worth checking out. Polo Ralph Lauren Supreme Oud. Entry level number 2 is going to be this particular fragrance, which in the beginning when it first was released in 2012, people thought it was very gimmicky, it was a joke. It was based on a TV series, and this is 24 Gold. But this is, as you notice here, is the Oud edition, which is a different rendition of this particular fragrance, a flanker, if you will, with more oud infusion into the scent. I love this stuff. It does it well, what it's supposed to do. It's going to be a rose and oud combination here. But the oud here is going to be almost caramelized. It's very sweet, very pungent. I like to call 24, Gold, the ScentStory fragrance, the 1 million of oud fragrances. So if you like sweet, playful, jovial, youthful kind of scents, you're gonna love this stuff. It's not hard to like this. Like I said, the oud here is done in a very almost gourmandy, very playful kind of manner. And this one comes in a very cheap price tag as well, which makes this definitely worth checking out. Speaking of aromatic ouds, this is going to be one based on a very liked fragrance in the fragrance world. And this is a flanker to Dolce Gabbana, the One, which is amazing on its own, which is like a tobacco ambery fragrance, adding spices and oud to the composition. This is an exclusive to Dubai. Not very easy to find here in America, but if you search well enough, you'll be able to find yourself a bottle at quite affordable prices. And I think it's definitely worth checking out. If you like oud with cardamom and spices, and a little bit of amber and tobacco, you're going to absolutely love this stuff. And you can find it at pretty affordable prices for what you're getting here. It's also very long lasting. So check out Dolce Gabbana The One Royal Night at the third spot here in the first category, entry-level oud fragrances. Second to last here in this category is one of my favorite designer oud fragrances ever made, perhaps my favorite to this point. This and the Oud Mention are definitely my two favorites when it comes to entry-level ouds. This is Versace Oud Noir, a great scent. Love the bottle presentation with the gradient dark, the black with the gold. Beautiful combination here. This particular fragrance reminds me of Tom Ford's Oud Wood for a fraction of the cost. It smells amazing, lasts a long time. You have cardamom, spices, cinnamon, the beautiful oud here. This is an extremely great aromatic, woody, spicy scent with, again, an infusion of oud. If you guys want a great entry-level oud to get yourself familiar with the note, definitely consider checking this out. Sure, synthetic, not many naturals here at all. This is designer mainstream, but they did a good job on this one. This is a fine blend, very well blended, smells amazing. It's gonna garner your compliments and it's gonna last a long time. Versace Oud Noir, second to last here in the entry-level oud fragrances. My favorite entry-level oud comes from a designer house, of course. And this is definitely arguably one of my favorites and one of the best designer oud fragrances ever released to date. This is Gucci Intense Oud. This particular fragrance, sadly discontinued, was replaced by Gucci Guilty Oud, which is okay, it's a dry rose and oud combination, but this particular one here takes the cake. Incredible fragrance. A lot of people will compare this particular fragrance to a more wearable More Than Words from Serjoff or a more toned down version of Black Afghano from Nasomato. So it goes to show, if you're familiar with those two fragrances, this is a beast of a scent, lasts a long time, smells amazing. You have that smoky oud facet. Not an animalic, but it's quite good, and it's gonna pack up a punch in the first couple hours. So it's one that you don't need more than 2 sprays. What I love about Gucci Intense Oud is that you have a fruity beginning with pear and raspberry, which some people will compare to Tuscan leather, but it's not similar to Tuscan leather at all. It's gonna have that fruity opening with the oud. You have patchouli in here, Indonesian oud. It smells incredible, guys. I'm telling you, it's definitely worth trying to get a bottle of this, guys, if you can find it at a reasonable price. I'd say between $100 and $150 if you can find this. $125, $150. It's definitely worth checking out if you can find a bottle. Gucci Intense Oud, my favorite entry-level oud fragrance. There are a ton of other options. I just think this one was the best one in the designer game. Next category, the most daring ouds that I have. These pack up a punch that are beasts on their own, and if you don't want something that's daring, that's going to be head-turning, do not check these out. I'm just a little warning, a little disclaimer. The first one here is going to be from the house of Mancera. This is going to be Oud Cafe, which, again, we all know Mancera Montal. They are beastly in performance, so performance is not going to be an issue with most of these fragrances, but especially this particular category. These next 5 ones are going to be incredibly monstrous performances. This is Oud Cafe, which, as the name implies, is going to have a very syrupy coffee note in here that's going to be almost gourmand-like, very sweet with the vanilla. There's patchouli in here, big note of cardamom. You must really enjoy coffee to like this. I love coffee, but remember, this is not going to be mostly of a dry roasted coffee, a dark roast. It's going to be mostly like a coffee drink, like a cappuccino or a macchiato. It's going to be in a gourmand, facet, so it's going to be very sweet, very pungent, and very, very syrupy. Next up, we have this one. You guys heard about it. I talked about my beastly performing fragrances, the Pink Beast. This is Oud Ispahan from the house of Dior. A lot of people like leather oud, which has a very fecal, barnyard kind of a introduction. I can't stand that fragrance. It's just too barnyardy for me. Oud Ispahan does not have the barnyard kind of introduction, but it has a very pungent, very medicinal type of oud here with the rose and some other components. There's a little bit of a vanilla touch also in the dry down. It is very nice, very refined. Could have easily been in my most refined, but I wanted to put this here on the daring because it is very daring. It's one of those fragrances that you only need 1 spray, and believe me, it's going to be nuclear. It's going to be on you for the whole day, and if you spray your clothes, it'll be there for like a week. If you spray your hands, perhaps after 2 showers, it'll start to die down. This stuff here is incredible. And by the way, this is the 2012 edition. It's not the reformulated 2018, which I think it's also strong in performance, but not as beastly as a 2012. Continuing with the daring oud fragrances, another one that needs no introduction. If you've been in this community for a month or a year, you've heard of this in some way, shape, or form. This is the Blue Beast, which, by the way, Interlude Man has a flanker, after all these years, Amouage Interlude Man Black Iris, which I can't wait to get my nose on and review for you guys. But let me digress a little bit. The Beast here, the Blue Beast, is just an incredible, smoky, almost like a wild campfire. It's a very, very smoky fragrance. You must enjoy smoky scents to like this one. It's very dark. It's very pungent. A little bit medicinal as well. There's a very daring note of oregano up top, which a lot of people can't stand. But then when the fragrance starts to get into like after the first 2 hours, it'll die down, tone down a little bit, gets a little creamier. You get some vanilla, some aromatic components in here, some spices that make this a very nice oriental fragrance. But again, the oud here is going to be medicinal. So yeah, you must like smoky fragrances and very daring fragrances to pull this off. But I love it. I think it's a great one of my favorites from Amouage. So the Blue Beast, very daring. Continuing here the countdown with the most daring oud fragrances I own. Second to last here, guys, this particular fragrance has a very predominant note of oud, but it's also mashed with a fragrance note that's getting a lot of popularity in the world over the past couple of years, the note of cannabis. This fragrance here from the house of Renier, which is a great fragrance house, which is inspired by paintings. Hardly ever gets any talks here in the fragrance community. I highly suggest you guys checking this fragrance house out. And the fragrance we're talking about today is Behique. Now Behique, this is very powerful, guys. Don't be fooled by the small bottle. I think this is a 50 ml. Christian Carbonell is the nose in this particular fragrance, and this is a beast of a fragrance, guys. Forget about Oud Ispahan. You get a drop of this fragrance on you, it'll be there for a long time. It is that pungent, it's that potent, and again, you must like smoky, you must like cannabis, very aromatic, takes over a room with one spray. Absolutely incredible. Check out Behique if you haven't. This particular house is definitely one you should not sleep on. From Renier Behique, amazing cannabis oud fragrance. Especially if you like Black Afghano, La Dononero, this stuff here just takes it up a notch. Last one here in the most daring ouds, we have a fragrance from a fragrance house that is absolutely stellar, guys. If you haven't tried this fragrance house, you must try this fragrance house. Santal Complet is an amazing sandalwood-based scent. They have a ton of great creations. This one here, again, don't be fooled by the small bottle. This stuff here is atomic. And this is Fragrance du Bois Borneo Oud. Again, as the name implies, it's oud extracted from the region of Borneo, the Oceania, near Australia. I absolutely love this stuff. It's incredible. However, it is very medicinal, very pungent, and even a little bit animalic, to be honest with you. And it's one of those scents that, on its own, it's going to be kind of hard to wear. You must really love ouds to really appreciate this. If you're looking for a natural oud, oud at its most natural form, definitely check this one out, guys. It'll blow your mind. The next 5 are going to be my mid-tier or high-end, refined oud fragrances that I own that I absolutely love. Any of these 5 will be amazing if you want to really spend a little bit more money and get some amazing ouds to feel great. This is Safari Extreme Eau de Parfum, an incredible creamy oud composition, almost cocoa-like, guys. The cap itself is actually crystal. The whole bottle is crystal. Beautiful presentation here. And fragrance itself is incredible. Amazing performance, just very refined, very sophisticated, beautiful composition. I almost feel like there's honey in here as well. I would probably describe this as a creamy honey oud type of a scent. If you really want something that's upscale, amazing, refined, very well blended, from Dubai, Safari Extreme, guys. Check this out. It's just amazing. Speaking of amazing oud refined compositions, I have one here from England. This is from Thammen, and this is going to be Carved Oud. Now, this particular oud is one of the reasons why I fell in love with oud fragrances. When they're blended like this, it just makes the whole experience so much nicer. You don't have anything pungent, anything animalic here. This is very sophisticated, but it's also a soft type of oud, which is embellished by vanilla, cardamom, pink pepper. So it's a spicy oud that's also very creamy. There's also sandalwood in here. Love it, guys. If you want something that's easy to wear, but thorough refined, definitely check out Thammen Carved Oud. You're not going to disappoint. I spoke to you guys about cannabis with oud fragrances being very popular over the past couple of years. And this particular one, I think, was one of the first ones, along with Black Afghano, to introduce that note into the fragrance world in a very daring way. But I think La Dononero actually took it to the next level. This Tiziana Terenzi Italian house, my favorite cannabis note laced with oud, would definitely have to go to this particular one. It's a great performing scent, smells amazing. Starts off a little bit smoky, a little bit rough with that marijuana, with that cannabis note, and some of the oud incense aspects of the fragrance. But then once you get into the mid, into the dry down, the fragrance really gets creamy, really enveloping, and very conducive of even compliments. But you have to wait for the first hour and a half, 2 hours, because it is quite daring, a little bit smoky, and not as easy to pull off. But if you like cannabis, guys, definitely suggest you guys checking out La Dononero from the house of Tiziana Terenzi. Next up, we have a gourmand type of oud. This is going to be Oud For Love, which is going to be that beautiful, this is from the different company, by the way. This is going to be an oud rose combination. It's almost powdery, but what I love about this fragrance is that it introduces this caramel note in here. It almost adds this cotton candy caramel note to this fragrance, making it very appealing, guys. I call this the Amen of the Oud fragrances. It has this really beautiful mass appeal, very intoxicating. Women do love the smell. They even like to wear it themselves. It's definitely androgynous. A lot of these fragrances are mostly androgynous anyway, but this one here I think has the most love from the women's side, I think, because of that caramel cotton candy vibe that I get here. But again, the rose is going to be here. The Oud is going to be prominent. Done in a very, very massive way that's just beautiful, guys. A different company doesn't really get much talks in the community. It's another one of those brands that don't really get much talks, but this one here is definitely in my top favorites, top 3 favorites from this particular brand. They have a bergamot one that I love. I think it's called Bachmakov, which is like a bergamot type of a scent. And then there's a Spicy Lounge, I think it's called, which is my second favorite. And this is here definitely my third favorite, which I absolutely love when it comes to Ouds, guys. Definitely check this out. This is fine quality at its best. Next up, perhaps one of the most appealing Ouds in this particular collection when it comes to refined, high class and mass appeal. This is definitely the most complimented one I have in this collection right here, this top 20. It took the DNA, the scent profile of a great fragrance that is the #1 seller for Parfums de Marly, which is Layton. Layton for them is like Aventus for Creed. And they took this particular DNA, this particular scent profile, added Oud to the fragrance and some spices, making it darker, a little bit more pungent. Again, don't be fooled by the size of the bottle. It's only available in this 75 ml, 2.5 ounces, but it's amazing. It performs great. Like I said, tremendous mass appeal here. Like grapefruit with that green apple up top. Spices like cinnamon, cardamom. You also have this amazing Oud infusion here that's quite subdued, but adds a little bit of a smokiness and woody facet, almost nutty to the fragrance that just takes it to the next level, guys. Amazing stuff here. Layton exclusive, released in 2017. One of my favorites. Definitely in the top 5 favorite Parfums de Marly of all time, guys. Check this out. If you like Oud, if you like Layton, you're going to love this one. All right, guys, these next 5 are the masterfully blended Ouds in my collection. These are definitely the most refined and my favorites right now. This could change a year from now, 2 months from now, but right at the time I'm filming this video, these over the past couple of years have been my favorite Ouds of all time, from 2018 up until now. This is the reason why I'd include Tom Ford's Oud Wood in this collection, because Tobacco Oud, I think it's just much better scent altogether. It lasts longer on my skin. It has this incredible tobacco infusion here, so if you like tobacco right off the bat, it's going to be spicier, it's going to be longer lasting, it's going to be more sensual. This stuff here is very, very sensual. Definitely a great one, guys. To me, the quintessential sensual Oud fragrance available in the market today, Tobacco Oud, guys. Check this out. At the 4th spot, we have a fragrance that I absolutely love, but it does lean a little bit more feminine to my taste, but it is incredible. And this is the fact why it's number 4 here. This is Mason Francis Kurkdjian MFK's Oud Satin Mood. It dries down to a delectable, gorgeous vanilla, floral, and oud type scent with spices. But the beginning, the introduction here can be a little bit more feminine for my taste. Nevertheless, this stuff is incredible, lasts a long time. It's another one that got a ton of limelight here in the community. I don't have to talk much about it. You guys know how much this stuff is incredible. Beastly in performance, all around great scent, a little bit pricey, but worth every penny. Oud Satin Mood at the 4th spot. Now, unlike some of the fragrances that I talked about in this video, in this top 20 that didn't get much limelight, this is one that absolutely got a ton of limelight in the fragrance community, in the fragrance world, and rightfully so. From the house of Niche Parfums, gorgeous bottle, but most importantly, gorgeous Oud fragrance. This is Oud for Greatness. The name says it all. It's a great Oud fragrance. It says lavender, saffron, beautiful Oud combination here. Some rose as well. It just smells like $1,000,000. Great stuff. I don't have to talk much about this. I'm sure you guys have heard of this stuff. A little bit pricey, guys, but if you're looking for a, end all be all, having one Oud in your collection, in your wardrobe, this one definitely worth checking out. But like I said, price per mil, it's going to be probably the most pricey Oud in this collection, along with Fragrance de Bois. So nevertheless, it smells amazing. Oud for Greatness at the 3rd spot, my favorite Ouds of all time. This next one is one fragrance that really opened my mind, or my nose in this case, to the Oud world of fragrances. This particular house, I discovered, it was initially released in 2016, this fragrance, but I didn't discover this fragrance until last year. And this is when I really delved a year ago into the Oud world of fragrances, and I realized that I do enjoy Oud depending on how it's blended. When it comes to blending, these guys are no joke. We're talking about Amouroud and the fragrances Oud du Jour, which translates to the daily Oud, Oud of the day. And this stuff here is a perfect Oud fragrance, guys. And when I say perfect, I mean it. If you want to get into Oud fragrances, you want one fragrance to translate everything I talked about in this video, refined, high class, elegance, sophistication, head turning, all those things that embodies a niche fragrance, I think these guys are doing a tremendous job, guys. From the bottle design to the creative process, but most importantly, the juices themselves, guys. Oud du Jour is a outstanding oud fragrance that I'm telling you, if you have not gotten your noses into oud, if you're starting into oud, you want to disregard the entry-level stuff, you know, the daring stuff. You just want something that's an all-around great scent that performs well. Oud du Jour is definitely it. We're talking about pink pepper, spices, cardamom, plum, wild raspberry. So this is going to have a very nice and soothing, fruity, you know, gemmy rose kind of accord, which develops this leathery, you know, facet of oud, which is absolutely incredible. This is like Ford Oud Wood, you know, matte Tuscan leather, and this would be the offspring. I mean, these guys are incredible what they're doing. I shared with you guys Oud Tobacco, which is like Creation-y, you know, had an offspring with Tobacco Vanille. So that's what I get with this one. It's like, you know, if I took both of those beautiful fragrances, Tuscan leather and Oud Wood, and made into a whole different fragrance, it would be Oud du Jour. It's just perfection, guys. Great stuff, sensual, enveloping, smooth, all around great scent, guys. Check out the brand of Amouroud if you haven't, but in particular, if you're really getting into oud, guys, Oud du Jour is a great way to do it. Let me get a drum roll, guys. My favorite oud fragrance of all time. It has been my favorite oud fragrance for a long time, I come to realize, because this fragrance was released ahead of its time back in 2002, was discontinued, and then re-released in a different Yves Saint Laurent collection. By now you should know I'm talking about the beautiful, timeless classic Yves Saint Laurent's M7. This is bergamot, mandarin orange, musk, vetiver, and oud, done to perfection, guys. Love this stuff. This is the original vintage formulation, but I'm not going to do this to you guys and tell you guys have to go out and get this, because this is going to be very pricey if you do find it. But there are options to this fragrance, of course. You have a reformulation that was first released, which is this one right here, which is called M7 Oud Absolute, which is mandarin oranges, again, the oud, the patchouli, there's myrrh in here, the vetiver is also in here, but it's not as pungent, not as dark as the original 2002 composition. And then it was reformulated again a third time, and they took away this black, you know, around the bottle, and it's all clear bottle, just as M7. I don't know if it's Oud Absolute, but it's just a clear bottle. I have the picture here for you guys, which is also very good, but now very neutered and extremely more mass appealing than this second formulation or the original, you know, the brown bottle, which I absolutely love. My favorite, definitely my top 10 fragrances of all time, guys. Definitely worth finding one if you can and paying the price, because it smells like nothing you've ever tried. It's just incredible, ahead of its time. Tom Ford was the creative director of Yves Saint Laurent at this time, and he was the guy behind, you know, the creative mind behind this particular fragrance. Incredible masterpiece in my opinion. And as always, guys, I'll have all the links to all 20 choices in the description. So you guys, if you're interested in some of these, you're looking for some of these, you can just easily click on the link. It'll take you to where I found my bottles. And of course, if these companies have any kind of codes or extended discounts, I'll have those next to those links as well for you guys. So enjoy. There you have it, guys. Those are my top favorite oud fragrances of all time. Let me know in the comments, what have I missed? Is there anything you guys would like to suggest me to check out? Maybe I haven't yet. Love to read your comments. As always, guys, let's start a little oud conversation. And also, guys, please, if you like this video, don't forget to show your support. It's very important, guys. Leave your like to show that you like the video. Subscribe to more content, and don't forget to click on that little bell so you guys can get these videos straight into your feed. As always, guys, remember, fragrance is emotion. It's an extension of your character, an extension of who you are. So wear what truly moves you. I'll see you again real soon. Take care.